let's get to Jeremy Fowler. He's down at the Meadowlands for tonight's game. And Jeremy, CeeDee Lamb was in the headlines leading up to this one. What's going on with the Cowboys star receiver?
Laura, CeeDee Lamb was visibly frustrated in Sunday's loss to Baltimore. He has apologized for that. I'm told that he's been accountable and locked into his teammates all week. I spoke to guard Zach Martin on the phone before this game. He said that CeeDee Lamb's always been a bounce-back player, very resilient. So they have big expectations tonight for not only the offense, but the passing game. And I talked to the Giants. They are expecting CeeDee Lamb to get the ball early and often. They figure last two games, only 7 targets each of the last two. He's usually closer to 10 to 12 targets, so that's what the Giants are expecting. They're also thinking the Cowboys will move him around a lot, not only outside receiver, but in the slot, which is a tricky proposition right now for the Giants because they have 2 players out, Drew Phillips, the rookie, and Adoree Jackson, guys that can play inside. So they're going to have to mix and match their availability on Lamb all night.
There's so many fascinating matchups in this game. Thanks to Jeremy Fowler for the latest there. Let's focus in on CeeDee Lamb. He ranks outside the top 35 wide receivers in team target share, target per route run, and reception percentage this season. He ranked in the top 7 for reference in all 3 categories in 2023. Felt like that offense couldn't function without Lamb. Marcus, what's going on with Lamb and that offense right now?
Listen, when we were young, well, at least when I was young and I got around some friends with a little bit of money, we used to play Where's Waldo? And it was a great game to play because you had to find Waldo in the midst of everybody. And that's what they need to do with CD. This needs to be backfield. They almost need to treat him like Deebo Samuel. That's how they need to treat him in this offense and figure out what ways can you not only get the ball in his hands quickly because he's really good in run after catch as well. That's one of the strongest suits of his game. But also you see here reverses, put him in the slot, throw a quick screen game to him. Get creative with how you're going to use him. Just lining him up on the outside where people can double team or shade a safety over the top of him is not going to make you better offensively. And then 2, by moving them around, you create opportunities for other people. That's what really good players do when they play on the back end like CD does. So I think it needs to be a little bit of Where's Waldo for the rest of the season, especially tonight, to get him involved.
Yeah, that would be in stark contrast to what they've been doing with him. What they've been doing with him is getting the ball in a hash and just putting him all the way out by himself and saying, hey, run in a straight line. You talked, Laura, saying 41st in targets. Also, half of his routes are just straight lines. He's at the bottom of the screen here. The safety goes down to the middle of the field. Now look at his body language when he doesn't get this football. I would ask the quarterback, Dak Prescott, why didn't you throw it to him there? But again, ball on the left hash, he's all the way up at the top of the screen by himself, furthest away from the football. He's in a straight line again, just a stop route. Dak throws it to the bottom of the screen. Ball on the left hash, he's all the way at the top of the screen by himself. He's going to run another straight line route. There's no change of direction. There's nothing. That's making it hard on this offense and their passing game. And also, if you look at the things that teams or offenses use to help their quarterbacks just play better, no matter who they are, play action, motion, screens, run the football well. The Cowboys are in the bottom 7 at basically everything outside of play action, and they're in the bottom 12 there. So I think that this offense just makes it harder than anybody in the NFL on their quarterback to try and play at a high, consistent rate.
Yeah, right now this offense is, hey, you, go win, which is just not where the NFL is going. We are seeing those types of offenses increasingly shrink in number because they're being surpassed by numbers that do all the things Dan just described. And it's reflected in the stats. Right now, on throws over 10 yards, the Dallas Cowboys have the 2nd lowest separation in the NFL in targets. The lowest percentage of open targets in the league. Everything feels so tight. Now, some of that is exacerbated by game script because they're falling behind. They aren't able to get to their play action, and they're certainly not able to run the ball. But even early in games, before things get out of hands, you are seeing this as well. It is too much just asking the players to go win, and that is not a reliable strategy in today's NFL.
Yeah, Ryan, that Giants front is no joke, by the way, too. 8 sacks last week in their win over Cleveland. Ooh. How big a challenge do they provide tonight for an offense that's already struggling?
They're a huge challenge, and I know Marcus and everybody on this show knows, but if you haven't seen Dexter Lawrence play, you need to tap in tonight. First of all, he was built out of a wall of granite. He's one of the largest humans I've ever seen and I've ever walked past, and thought to myself, you know what? If he jumped on me, I don't really have a win. That's the type of dude that Dexter Lawrence is. And you think about the addition of Brian Burns. Also, I want to bring to your attention what Jason Pinnock has been in the rush. Some of these things that Shane Bowen has done, the defensive coordinator of the Giants, adding him to the rush. He has 3 sacks on the year. He put a tremendous amount of pressure on Jaden Daniels and also Deshaun Watson. They're very tricky up front. And if they can put pressure on Dak Prescott, it helps because Drew Phillips, who I think is a future star at the nickel position, is out, and also Adoree Jackson is banged up.
RC, I love that you brought up Dexter Lawrence. First of all, he's a help the bear type of guy. So if you ever see Dexter Lawrence fight a bear, help the bear. The second thing is this. Dallas struggled against Baltimore in line stunts and movements. It's something that RC alluded to. This is not about pressure. It's about what you create up front based on protection. And they were able to get the Deshaun in that Cleveland game in that way too. And we saw Carl Van Noy run the hoop and get the Dak Prescott in the same semblance and variation. So not only is it about him being big and physical and winning his one-on-ones, he's a space eater in the passing game as well. And what I mean is pulling 2 offensive linemen to create space for another guy to work. It's going to be interesting to see how Dallas is going to try to block the interior of this defensive line.
Yeah, Giants win because the vintage defensive line performance like you guys are talking about. Marcus, you talked about the Baltimore game. What Baltimore did was they took Travis Jones, who's not Dexter Lawrence, but a good defensive tackle, and they put him over that rookie center's head. And they said, hey, you're going to run through half of his body, and then these are the humps that you were talking about. Could you imagine if this is a Thibodeau or Brian Burns tonight? And that's a big ask for that rookie center, Cooper Beebe, to try and handle and pass off. And could you imagine Dexter Lawrence being the guy that's over his head doing this, where he is just manhandling that rookie center, and then the athleticism that Marcus kind of references. I think that's a huge thing to pay attention to tonight. The interior, how they handle Dexter Lawrence and some of those loopers or wrappers.
I think, we're thinking about the Cowboys. I know. Travis Jones, by the way, there's a name that we should talk about more because he was an absolute beast in that game. We're thinking about the Dallas Cowboys the last 2 weeks, right? We're talking about the offense. Everything looks tight. CeeDee hasn't involved. I think you want to go back to week 1. Think about how they looked against the Cleveland Browns. Think about how quickly that ball was coming out, the way they were able to mitigate the pass rush, some of the things they were doing in the backfield. That, to me, is the formula for this team, certainly tonight, where if you can get past that pass rush, a lot of opportunities there in that Giants defense.
By the way, I think Swagoo is a help the bear type guy, too.
He uses bear once a week as well, though. Bear.
You damn right.
Put those balls
You damn
up.
right I'm going to help the bear type.
Oh, that was a cat. All right.